Welcome to ModiMakes.
What's good, everybody? My name is Modi, this is ModiMakes, and today I'm going to show you my new favorite way to bring depth to my paintings with this amazing technique to bring light and shadows to your subject. Plus, it brings fantastic detailed texture to any paintings, and it's perfect for the painting materials that I use, mainly my beloved Posca pens. This technique is not new, though it is new to my work. And after you see this painting completed, you'll see why I love it so much. So let's not waste time and kick it off right with the atmosphere and vibes of a painting, I find, are tied intrinsically to the background. And for this painting, I knew that I wanted a vivid pink to orange sunset gradient to set the stage. Using my Montana black spray cans for this is perfect because they get great opacity with heavily saturated color. Not to mention that spray paint is the best tool to get subtle but harsh gradient transitions, which is exactly what I want for my style. Then I knew I wanted some clouds to hide the transition and add some depth to the atmosphere. So I snagged my cloud stencil, which I created by tearing a piece of foam board in the rough shape of some cloud lumps, and started up top with an oversaturated lavender color. After, I switched to a light pink and added a few extra rows of clouds in front, but it was too clean for my grimy aesthetic. So I made sure to get some chunky spray drips all over for a more interesting texture. Then to marry this whole background together, I wanted a hint of orange reflecting off of the bottom of the clouds. So using the bottom of my stencil, I gave the clouds some little flat booties to be proud of. With that background completed and looking mighty tasty, I have the perfect setting for my subject. So let's take this over to the studio and feast our eyes on I'll kick this portion off with my favorite new tool. It takes a little bit of time to set up, but it cuts my sketch transfer time at least in half. And I can be quite impatient about this part because I'm itching like a fiend to get into the painting. It's of course my luminous mini projector. You get your sketch shot right onto your canvas, and then it's just a matter of grabbing a pencil and then doing the best you can to trace your lines as accurately as possible while trying not to destroy your rapidly aging back with all the wild positions you gotta get into to make this work. If you're a man, trust me, do not wear slim-fitting jeans while doing this. You'll thank me. Finally, now we have our sketch transferred over perfectly, and I can scratch my itch by pulling out my beloved Posca pens. Man, that hits so smooth right there. The nature of how I sketch this in allows me to just outline all the areas that will be filled with black, which both saves time and is essential for how I'm going to end up coloring and shading this in later, especially since the style of this painting is fairly different from ones I've made in the past. It still maintains my iconic Blue Meanie style, but it's much more realistic in its form for the character, combining my exaggerated cubist form with a more anatomically correct human figure to create something that I think will end up very striking in the end. Alright, so we've set the stage perfectly with the atmospheric background contrasting well with the clean figure sketch on top. From here, it's just a matter of making our lady pop off the canvas and into the foreground, which brings us right into our final segment. We'll start this off simple by laying down flat colors into all their respective areas. I wanted to keep the color palette of the figure fairly cohesive while also separating it out into sections. I'll start with my classic Blue Meanies blues for the hand. Then, as is tradition, I'll have the jewelry pop out with some nice gold. From there, I'll be transitioning into warmer colors as we move down towards the torso. To make the face a focal point just like the hands, however, I'll opt into some higher contrast colors, such as green for the hair and blues for the face, transitioning that to the red with purples and pinks. Once the color flats are finished, it's time for this to get more interesting. I'll be utilizing a series of stippling shading to build up depth, contrast, and texture to the 2D figures. With the darker colored areas, I'll add in stippling highlights, and with the lighter colors, I'll add in stippling shadows to unify the colors even further, and to show more of the three-dimensional curves of the form. I found that while this does take quite a bit of patience, it's also extremely meditative. Man, that's a hard word, isn't it? Meditative. And I just ended up getting lost in the whole process. It also adds a nice sort of retro aesthetic to my style, which is a good balance for the very contemporary feel of my art. And I found that this technique really reminded me of the retro propaganda posters from the early 20th century, which has always been a look that I've really loved. Not to mention that it also creates very dramatic shading, which further adds to the intense introspective vibe that this piece invokes. After finishing up the first pass of the stippling, I can come back in with my black and add in all the cleaned up line work. Plus, it only compounds the already dramatic shading with large areas of pitch black, giving this whole painting an ethereal single light source that reminds me of space. That's clean. But before we can call this painting complete, we have to bump up that contrast to 11 by adding in another layering of stippling. I'll take my black and add an extra dark shadow pass to choice areas that need to be pushed just that much further. Here you have to be careful not to overdo it because it can quickly turn into muddy soup if you push it too far. But with just the right touch, it gives the figure a sort of semi-gloss, almost statuesque look. This helps push that form just a bit further and adds in a much needed level of detail. And with all that finished, this painting is complete and ready for those final shots. Well, there you have it, my peoples. My painting Two Little Birds is complete. And I really can't say how excited I am about the final product of this piece. I really feel like this level of shading and highlights and this detail with the stippling really takes my style to another level. And I truly believe that I'll be using this in most of my pieces moving forward because I just love the effect that it gives it. But let me know what you guys think of the piece down in the comments below, and let me know if you have any questions about this video or any other video I've made. I'll be happy to read through them all and respond to them personally, as I always do. And you know, if you like this video, go ahead and give me a like. That would be fantastic. And if you like me, you like the channel, and you want to help support me, the number one thing that you can do is to subscribe. I really couldn't thank you enough if you did. It means the world to me. And with all that out of the way, and without further ado, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Thanks for watching.